Had I left her any openings? Could she get to me any other way? Well, wizard, Mab asked, have we a bargain? So, after looking at all of the other templates in the book, can you still not find one that fits? Well, that's what this one's for. Together, let's take a look at the lore, mechanics, and my personal thoughts on the Emissary of Power template. Okay, so as always, we are going to start with the lore. So what exactly is an Emissary of Power? Well, it's a mortal or a supernatural being that has made a pact with a powerful supernatural entity. Something that has lent them a bit of power in exchange for some kind of service, a pact, a bargain, a promise, anything that ties you to them. In the novels, we kind of see hints of this a lot, but we never see anything that would fit really with what the RPG presents us. The closest that it offers is the Knights of the Fairy Court and the Knights of the Cross, which are, of course, their own templates within the game. The game itself presents the idea of a mortal who handles legal paperwork for a dragon. So really, this template can be anything. With that, let's look at the mechanics. We're talking about a refresh cost total of -1 and no other power or stunt conditions. The Emissary of Power, because of this, is your most versatile supernatural template. This template is the go-to for just about anything. The only conditions are as follows. You need to have made a pact or bargain with a powerful supernatural entity. You need to pick up the marked by power supernatural power, and a high concept that reflects your bargain. Something like Dragon Squire or part-time demigod might fit. Because of the open-ended nature of this one, you and your GM need to work together really, really carefully to pick out the supernatural powers either you have or your patron has granted you. In addition, you need to work out with your GM, again, very, very carefully, the exact terms of the contract you've made with the entity that has given you your power. GMs, this template is your friend for the same reasons I recommended the Knight of the Cross. The character has a boss, and that boss is going to be a constant in the game. They should be constantly bothered by the contract. The entity that bargained with them should be a huge pain in the ass, and that's not me talking, that's the game. I just happen to agree with it. Okay, so you should also consider having your characters, if they're immortal given power, have the powers be tied into what's called an item of power, which you can find on page 167, or sponsored magic, found on page 183. GMs, be absolutely certain to work with your players on this template. Do not let them do it without you. You and the player have a responsibility to be on the same page with this more than any other template. Not only about the powers they have, but the terms and conditions of their contract, pact, bargain, favor owed, etc. And this is where it's going to get weird. We see in the novels that creatures that can give out this kind of power are great at, finding loopholes and exploiting them. It's a lot harder to do that in real life as mortals. I would like you and your players to sit down and discuss and say, hey, maybe we didn't word this greatly, but let's pretend, just for the sake of this, that there's no easy loophole. Like, whatever you think of, run it by me as the game master first, and we can discuss whether or not that the entity would have left that opening, and if they did, if your character could exploit it. Now let's talk about my thoughts. This is another weird one. Again, I really, really like this template, but it's very easy to misinterpret due to its vague nature. A lot of people see Emissary of Power and think, oh, cool, my last choice, it's the only one that doesn't that isn't covered by any of the others. Maybe I don't fit into any of the others. Well, guess what? You almost always are going to forget about the bargain. Most people I've played with do. I forget it, and I'm the GM. Okay, so it's really easy to throw the patron to the side. Don't do that. Let the patron be a constant looming threat. Throw out fate points for invoking that contract, and players use your position as an emissary of this creature to your advantage. Maybe you're attacked by fairies or something, but fairies aren't going to want to start a war with a dragon. Okay, so like I said, think about what the contract is, why your character took the deal, and what do they want out of it? Do they want more? Do they want to escape? Do they crave power? Do they want to usurp this creature that gave it to them? What is their relationship with their patron? So overall, I rate this as the 6th of my favorites out of the 14 presented. A lot of potential, but really vague, and it needs to be vague for it to work. It's another of those that's going to require an awful lot of talking with the Game Master, as I mentioned. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great evening.